Learn English through Stories U22 Answers PDF. Adapted and modified by Kulwant Singh Sandhu. Contents. Vocabulary. 7 tests. Answers. 1. Add one of these passive verbs to the sentences below. Make any necessary changes. Their work was deemed to be of the highest standard. Or, their work has been deemed to be of the highest standard. B. The murderer should be jailed for life. Or, the murderer should have been jailed for life. C. The floor had been strewn with newspapers and old magazines. D. I was completely baffled and had no idea what had happened. E. The building has been earmarked for demolition. 2. Add a suitable preposition to these sentences. A. The factory is scheduled for demolition next year. B. The little boy was eventually reunited with his parents. C. These 3 chapters could be subsumed under a new heading. D. I've been shortlisted for the Nobel Prize for Literature. E. I've been swamped with requests to do concerts all over Europe. 3. Match the beginnings of the sentences 1 to 10 with a suitable ending AJ. 1. The condemned man was reprieved at the last moment. 2. I was completely mesmerized by his performance. 3. The old man was paralyzed down one side after the stroke. 4. Both players were penalized for complaining to the referee. 5. I've been swamped with offers of help. 6. The meeting has been scheduled for next Friday. 7. Banta was somewhat disconcerted by the lack of response. 8. His behavior was in danger of being construed as aggressive. 9. She was hospitalized for 3 months after the accident. 10. The factory is staffed by experienced machine operators. 4. Fill each of the gaps with the most appropriate word from the list. Jack, he's so unlucky, dogged by misfortune, buffeted by fate at every turn, and haunted by memories of the past. Locked in a battle with his family, hounded by the police, and severely handicapped by facial features straight out of a horror movie, he's doomed to failure. Jill is so different, blessed with an ability to get on with everyone, touched with genius, already earmarked by her company for a top job, and destined to be a success in whatever she does. She's possessed of just about every quality Jack lacks. 5. Fill each of the gaps in the following sentences with an appropriate verb from the list. The verbs should be used in the passive. A. The ex-champion was overcome by heat exhaustion in the final and was unable to finish the match. B. How the intelligence services work is shrouded in secrecy. C. Since the film came out, I have been inundated with requests for my autograph. E. Their new CD is scheduled for release next January. Or D. His house in the foothills was dwarfed by the surrounding mountains. F. All the doctors we saw were baffled by the reason for her illness. G. I'm afraid your recent work is deemed totally inadequate for the task. Or, I'm afraid your recent work was deemed totally inadequate for the task. Or, I'm afraid your recent work has been deemed totally inadequate for the task. H. Believe it or not, last month the newsreader was dubbed the sexiest man on television. I. Many people think a 19-year-old's first novel should have been shortlisted for last year's National Literature Prize. Or, many people think a 19-year-old's first novel should not have been shortlisted for last year's National Literature Prize. J. When the police arrived, the victim's clothes were strewn all over the room. Or, when the police arrived, the victim's clothes had been strewn all over the room. 6. For each of the following sentences, write a new sentence as similar as possible in meaning to the original sentence, but using the word given. This word must not be altered in any way. Since the advertisement, we have been swamped with applications. B. Do you feel it's wrong that this site has been earmarked for redeveloped? C. The interviewer was really taken aback by the minister's response. D. The protest march was rained off. E. The office is staffed 24 hours a day. F. I was rather disconcerted when the bereaved woman started laughing. G. The secret recipe is handed down from generation to generation. H. The surrounding buildings are dwarfed by the trade center. I. The government's fiscal policy was pilloried in the press. Or, the government's fiscal policy was pilloried by the press. J. All this information cannot easily be subsumed under one heading. 7. Complete each sentence using a collocation given below. 1. Tanya has always had a gift for languages, so I'm not surprised she wants to study Chinese at university. 2. At high tide the sea covers the causeway, and the only way to get to the island is to take a boat. 3. It's very crowded in this cafe. You grab a seat and I'll get our drinks. 4. Once my exams are over I'll turn my thoughts to planning a holiday. 5. Far more people these days manage to win the battle against cancer. 6. Most politicians say they enter politics because they want to make a difference. 7. Try not to underestimate the value of having good friends. Ultimately, friendship is far more important than work. 8. He's got the job pending a successful result in his driving test tomorrow. 9. Although they lack experience, newly qualified doctors are often very enthusiastic and passionate about their work.